Data presentation and interpretation in tabular and graphical forms. Data processing. It is the fundamental information through a process. In research, data is manipulated to produce results that lead the answer to specific problem for the improvement of an existing situation. The data may be presented through diagram, graph, either line, bar, pie, etc., table, or figure. It is important to process the data collected carefully. Data processing is concerned with editing, coding, classifying, tabulating, and charting, and diagramming research data. The essence of data processing in research is data reduction. So, data reduction involves winnowing out the irrelevant from the relevant data and establishing order from chaos and giving shape to a mass of data. There are several steps in data processing. First is editing of data. Editing is the process of examining the data collected in a questionnaires or schedules to detect errors and omissions and to see that they are corrected and the schedules are ready for tabulation. The researcher must see to it that data are accurate, relevant, consistent, complete, and acceptable by general people. Coding of data for number two. Coding is necessary for efficient analysis and through it the several replies from the respondents may be reduced to a smaller number of classes, which contain the critical information required for analysis. Coding decisions should be usually be taken at the designing stage of the questionnaire. Coding is the process or operation by which data or responses are organized into classes or categories and numerals or other symbols are given to each item according to the class in which it falls. In other words, coding involves two important operations. A. Deciding the categories to be used, and B. Allocating individual answers to them. Number 3. Classification of data. Data must be classified or categorized in the statistical data under various understandable homogeneous groups for the purpose of convenient interpretation. A uniformity of attributes is the basic criterion for classification, and the grouping of data is made according to similarity. Classification becomes necessary when there is diversity in the data collected for meaningful presentation and analysis. Number 4, tabulation of data. Tabulation is the process of summarizing raw data and displaying it in compact form for further analysis. Therefore, preparing tables is a very important step. The following steps are necessary in the preparation of table. A. Title of table. The table should be first given a brief, simple, and clear title which may express the basis of classification based on the purpose of the study. B. Columns and rows. Each table should be prepared in just adequate number of columns and rows. C. Captions. The columns and rows should be given simple and clear captions so the ordinary reader can understand the data. Letter D. Ruling. Columns and rows should be divided by means of thin and thick rulings. Letter E. Arrangement of items. Comparable figures should be arranged side by side. Letter F. Deviations. This should be arranged in the column near the original data so that their presence may easily be noted. Now, letter G, size of columns. This should be made according to the requirements. Letter H, arrangement of items. This should be made according to the problem. Now, let's proceed to scope and purpose of data. The process of data analysis is used to describe, summarize, and compare data using statistical techniques in a systematic manner. There are three basic steps in data analysis. First, organizing and preparing the data for analysis. Step 2, Analyzing the data. Step 3. Interpreting the results. Data analysis is the process of developing answers to questions through examination and interpretation of data. This part presents the gathered data in the researcher's analysis and interpretation of the results of the distributed instruments. The data are presented in a clear and concise form, most of which use graphs and tables. After gathering the data, they must be tabulated and computed so the researcher can analyze and interpret the result. Research interpretation is defined as adequate exposition of true meaning of the material represented in terms of the purpose of the study, according to Reyes 2004. The best time to develop the analysis plan is when the researcher can identify key evaluation questions and the method of gathering the needed information. Results in discussion should be systematic, logical, and comprehensive. The decision should blend the findings in relation to those identified in the literature review and placed within the context of the theoretical framework underpinning the study. The discussion should be presented in the present tense, unlike in the research methodology, which is presented in the past tense form. To be able to create and present an organized picture of information from research report, it is important to use certain techniques to communicate findings and interpretations of research studies into visual forms. The common techniques being used to display data results are tabular, textual, and graphical methods. So this is an example of tabular forms. Table 2, profiles of students according to gender. So the gender male and female, analysis among 300 respondents, 100 or 40% are males and 180 or 60% are females. For the table number 3, the title is Profiles of Student According to Grade Level. For the gender, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, and 11. This is the analysis of the survey's 300 respondents. 60 or 20% are in grade 7, 54 or 18% are in grade 8, 51 or 17% are in grade 9, and 45 or 15% are in grade 10. This constitutes enrollment in junior high school. Enrollees entering senior high school in grade 11 constitute 90 or 30% of the total school enrollment. For the table number 4, profiles of students' economic status based on monthly family income. Here's the analysis. The students' socioeconomic statuses based on the monthly family income are categorized into 3 groups: above average, average, or middle, and below average. Those students whose combined monthly family income falls on the below average category consist of 75 or 25% of the respondents. There are 174 or 58% whose combined monthly family income falls on the average or middle bracket. The remaining 17% or 51 both on the above average combined monthly family income. Results in discussion should be systematic, logical, and comprehensive. The decision should blend the findings in relation to those identified in the literature review and placed within the context of the theoretical framework underpinning the study. The discussion should be presented in the present tense, unlike in the research methodology, which is presented in the past tense form. Students' overall performance: outstanding, very satisfactory, satisfactory, unsatisfactory, and poor. Presented in tabular form. Table 5 shows the summary of the overall adjectival rating and frequency and percentage of students in their pre-test in pre-calculus at Culayan National High Schools for school year 2019 to 2020. Results reveal that 66% of the students have satisfactory rating. Only 5% have outstanding rating. Overall, the data showed that the students at Gulaya National High School have fair ratings based on their pre-test scores. This implies that most of the students do not have prior mastery on the concepts of this subject. Hence, teacher is expected to apply teaching strategies that will increase students' concept of the subject. This result is supported by Ignacio 2016 that pretest scores, especially if it is valid and reliable, shows prior knowledge of the learner of the subject matter. The process of data analysis is used to describe, summarize, and compare data using statistical techniques in a systematic manner. There are three basic steps in data analysis. First, organizing and preparing the data for analysis. Step 2, analyzing the data. Step 3, interpreting the results. Number 4, present the significant figures, overall results, high and low values, and the unusual pattern. Number 5, refrain from repeating again what's inside the table. Number 6, support your findings with literature and studies that confirms or contrasts your results. Number 7, establish the practical implication of the result. This will add value to your research findings. Number 8, end with a brief generalization.